Okay, Offsiders, welcome to episode 13, Fats.
13, I believe.
Wow, 13 episodes in. As always, guys, I am your host, Nims. I'm here with Fats, who you've already heard speak. How are you, Fats?
Yeah, man. Good. How about you?
I am awesome, man. It's been an awesome week. FIFA 20 coming out. I've spent a bit of time on Ultimate Team, as we've talked about it off air.
Yeah, FIFA 20 is out now. I believe it just came out today or yesterday for Australia. It's just going to be a fun year, I reckon. The gameplay is sort of the same, to be honest. Just a bit slower.
Yeah.
But yeah, I reckon it'll take a bit to get used to. Obviously, everyone's trying to make the coins. Everyone's trying to make the mullah. Get all the
Without
best.
putting in Moolah, of course.
I reckon there's a lot of players out there hammering their credit cards to get every single player possible in this game, but hopefully they don't go bankrupt. You know, rent is important.
Yeah, and you definitely need to eat.
Exactly.
Grass doesn't sustain you for very long. Besides FIFA, we've got some cracker games. Some games that are going to shake Europe, I think, up this weekend. So without further delay, Fats, let's get into football. Big one in La Liga this week. We've got the battle for Madrid. Atletico playing Real Madrid.
Yeah.
Atletico, of course, at home.
Yeah, it's going to be a massive game. I think it's going to be the game that's going to put a lot of pressure on Zidane if he loses, because this is a major game, especially if they get hammered in this game. I think a good performance will take a lot of people off his heels, even if they do win. Even if they do lose. But yeah, in my opinion, I've got Atletico winning this game. I think, look, Atletico hasn't been the greatest team at the moment. They did start off strong, but sort of just trying to find their way still at this time of the league for them. But with the team that they have, the coach that they have, they just seem much more fluid than...
Much more composed?
Yeah, much more composed than Real Madrid at the moment. I think Zidane, he needs to get this right. If he doesn't get it right, there's again, like we've said previously, Real Madrid fans aren't exactly the most forgiving.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to wait and see how this game turns out. But yeah, it is a cracker of a game for them.
I agree with you, Fats. I see Atletico winning this one, especially at home. In the instant, it's a 3-0, 3-1, 4-0 win for Atletico. Do we see a midweek dismissal?
No.
No?
Not that quick.
There have been rumours floating around.
Oh, there's a rumour of Jose Mourinho, but I can't see Mourinho going to Real Madrid, considering the way he's left that team. It wasn't in the best nature. Some of the players didn't like him. Ramos is still there, so I don't think Ramos has the best relationship with Mourinho. Getting rid of Zidane, 7 games in? What is it? Match day 7, yeah. So 7 games in will be a horrific decision for Real Madrid, considering that the players that they bought, considering that Zidane was the saviour. Previously, Real Madrid have gotten rid of managers a lot quicker than most teams in the La Liga. But I just can't see Zidane leaving that quickly, considering the money that they've spent.
Fair enough. Barcelona playing Getafe away from home. Fats, I think this is another crucial game for Barcelona. They need to start turning some things around.
Yeah, big time, because their away record hasn't been that great. Messi's out again, so that's going to be another blow for Barcelona. But look, with the team that they have on paper, you look at this game and you say, okay, Barcelona will get the 3 points easy. But considering that the way they've been playing away, I think a loss here is also going to put a lot of pressure on their manager now, because if Barcelona don't get the points that they need out of this game, it's going to put more pressure on them in the La Liga and also in the Champions League, because like we've discussed before, Barcelona have relied on that gap in the La Liga to go, okay, you know what, we can field out a sort of second string team against this team because we've got a Champions League game coming up. Now, Champions League is coming up again. So a loss here, I think a bit of pressure is going to start coming onto these players and onto the manager.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. A report today said Messi was very impressed with the 16-year-old Fati, the new signing. He said that he was wowed in the training session that he had with him, but he also doesn't want to put this big pressure on this kid by being the person who spots him out. Maybe some new blood to be injected into Barcelona over the next few years, Fats.
He has played a few good games. Now there was that great photo of Messi hugging him in the tunnel after one of the games. This was when Messi was injured. Look, at the end of the day, Barcelona is known for their academy. Okay, they brought in so many players up through their academy. I can't see them not doing that same method. Obviously, it's not all about spending 150, 200 million pounds. They rarely do that. And in situations that they do, it's superstars. It's not, we need to make an impulse buy. It's a Neymar. It's a Griezmann.
Well-established players.
Exactly.
No Harry Maguires for Barcelona.
No Harry Maguires. I think that they're looking for... I think Barcelona will always look for a high-profile defender, but they've never been that type of team to go and spend 80 million, 90 million on a defender. It's always let's improve our attack sort of thing for that team. But yeah, look, I think the trend now is youth players. Chelsea's doing it, Man City's doing it, Liverpool's slowly getting there and trying to bring up a few youngsters as well. Barcelona has been doing it for a long time. I think they're one of the few teams in La Liga that actually do it and do it well, I should say. The La Masia Academy is an amazing academy. If you can go on YouTube and search up under 13, under 11 games to them, they'll run rings around us easy. Yeah. So, yeah, young blood into the team. Whether you're going to find another Messi, I highly doubt it. I think a player like Messi or even just finding a Ronaldo, it comes once in 1,000 years by the looks of it.
And we've talked about how lucky we have been to see such great players and more emphasis on the young players coming through, Fats, because we've had such a great era, if you want to call it a generation of great players. We see this massive aging population, if you like, in football. We've talked about it with the Bundesliga. It's definitely happening in La Liga. So the injection of players in youth academies is going to be very, very important in the next few years, in my opinion.
Oh, of course. It's going to help every single team because it's coming to a point where most teams don't have that ability to just go out and spend X amount on a defender or a midfielder or a striker at the moment because the market is heavily inflated. It reminds me of FIFA 20 at the moment.
Yeah.
You go and try to sign a defender, even just a mediocre... I shouldn't say mediocre, but just an average defender. If the team that you're buying from knows you have money, you're paying 20, 30 million. Easy, for a minimum.
I think it makes it harder for these big profile teams like Barcelona because you're a team like Ajax, who brings up these youth players. You already know that the team that's coming to approach you has big money.
Correct.
And you're going to try and milk every million out of them that you can.
Exactly. And your best example, like you just said, was Ajax. They sold 2 players, and those 2 players went for pretty hefty prices there. De Ligt going to Juventus. It's those types of teams are always going to constantly bring up players, and they're always going to make good money off them because that's what they're known for. Ajax, back in, I think it was 95, 96, they built an academy-based team that ended up winning the Champions League, led by Van Gaal.
Yeah.
So whether Ajax can do that now, it seems highly unlikely, considering times have changed now. Many people don't want to go and play in the Dutch league. They want to go play for Premier League or La Liga. So whether they can keep a hold on all these players, I doubt it, but... Yeah, look, I can't see Barcelona losing the gift that they have, which is their academy. They've put so much money, they've put so much time into that academy, and look, a lot of the superstars around the place come from there.
Yeah.
So look, whether he's a superstar in the future at 16 years of age, we're gonna have to wait and find out. If Messi likes him, you can't go wrong from there.
Yeah. Good luck to him. I hope it doesn't put too much pressure on him. I think we have heard in the last 6 months or so coaches and players talking about youth and saying he's the best player I've ever worked with. How much of an exaggeration that is, we don't know. I guess put it on your list of ones to watch, Fats. Pun intended, FIFA 20.
Moving on to the Turkish league, there's actually two massive games in the Super League that's coming up. You got Trabzonspor and Beşiktaş, and obviously the big one in Turkey, Galatasaray hosting Fenerbahçe.
Yeah, look, before we move on to the big game, Trabzonspor and Beşiktaş in this game have something to prove, Fats. They both haven't had the greatest start. We talked about them on Tuesday, and we talked about how they're in, 13th or 11th place or something like that from the top of my head. I've talked about Beşiktaş from the start, and I say it every single week. I don't have high expectations of Beşiktaş this year. I feel like they're going to have a season like Fener did last season. Even though they've brought in Abdullah Avcı, they haven't really bought too many players. I mean, they've got the American, I think, Tyler Boyd, who hasn't even been starting for Beşiktaş. I mean, you've lost a key playmaker like Quaresma. There seems to be unhappiness there, even with their director, like with Fikret Orman. On the other side, Trabzon has been financially struggling for the last 2 seasons. I mean, they brought up really great players, but they've got a couple of key players out on injury. So does Beşiktaş. I mean, Burak Yilmaz hasn't started the season yet. You've got big losses on both sides. Being at Trabzon, for some reason, if I was to predict anything, it'll be a 1-1 draw because it's a derby and the most common outcome. But Trabzon, I think, can take this one early in the season, maybe set themselves up, get a step ahead of Beşiktaş, Fats.
Yeah, look, I'm gonna go with the Trabzonspor as well, because I agree completely with the whole concept of Beşiktaş just not being the team that dominated the Super League. What was it, 2-3 years ago?
3 years ago.
A lot of changes in that team, a lot of players that have left. So yeah, I'm gonna say Trabzonspor to win this, but I think it might be close.
Yeah.
Now the big one, Galatasaray Fenerbahçe. Without being too biased, yeah.
I'm not going to be biased. I mean, if anything, I think I'm going to do Galatasaray. I'm going to be harsh on Galatasaray. You're talking now. This is the biggest derby in Europe, in my opinion. You're talking about the biggest city.
That's a big call.
It's the biggest city in Europe by population, by far. If you see the aftermath of streets after this game, I mean, it's nothing to brag about, but I remember, 10 years ago, there were petrol stations on fire, Fats. This is the biggest derby in the biggest city in Europe. And it's being played at Galatasaray. Now, Galatasaray has been unbeaten for almost 2 seasons at home. As a Galatasaray supporter, I'm worried in this game. A lot of the transfer targets that Galatasaray had, whether it's Vedat Muriçi, whether it's Deniz Türüç, Fenerbahçe grabbed them last minute off Galatasaray, and these are great signings. Vedat Muriçi, I think, has scored in every single game so far. Fener has had a way better start than Galatasaray has. To be honest, I'm worried about Galatasaray. I hear Belhanda's coming back from that chin injury, and I always say the midfield at Galatasaray, he's sort of the Kante of Galatasaray. Without Belhanda, there's no midfield, and you will start to see this disconnection between the forwards and the defenders. The ball will be lost with stupid passes in the midfield. But with him back, is he going to be fit? I don't know. He didn't start the season like he did last season either. To be honest, I see this game ending in a draw, or as hard as it is to say, I see Fenerbahçe taking this game, Fats.
Oh, look, I'll probably agree with you from the aspect of Galatasaray not starting off as well as what a champion should start, especially in the Turkish Super League. Biggest derby in Europe, I will have to heavily disagree with that one. Biggest derby in Turkey, 100%. I totally agree. One of the biggest derbies in the world, 100%, considering the rivalry between these two squads. And like you just said before, petrol stations going on fire. Look, it's at the end of the day, these two teams will always be the two biggest teams in Turkey. Okay, unless something very major happens and problems comes and they both get relegated or something like that. But this is it. This is the two teams. Now, Fenerbahçe holds a record over Galatasaray considering at their home ground. And like you just said, Galatasaray with 2 seasons unbeaten at their home ground. I think this might be the game for Galatasaray to go, you know what, let's get our season back on track. let's work forward. I know we're missing a few players, but I think this might bring out something different out of the players that Galatasaray actually needs. Now, it doesn't help Galatasaray that they're going to go into a Champions League week, but
Against PSG.
But I think if you're smart about it, realistically, we're not expecting a point or 3 points against PSG. So do we go all out for this Fenerbahce game? I think we should, because at the end of the day, to play in we're not expected to win the Champions League by far.
Look, let's be realistic, Fats. The group that we have, I don't think we're expected to move on to the Champions League. Europa League would be a great success for us.
Exactly right. So I reckon just put our best team forward for this game. If Belhanda's fit, I don't think we risk it, because you don't want him to. Because this game isn't a game where it's not only a big game. It can be a very volatile game.
It's physical.
Exactly. And for someone that's coming off wearing a mask, I saw that mask that he was wearing on his training session. You don't want someone to just elbow in the face back into surgery.
Yeah.
So look, I'm going. I don't know what I'm going with this game, to be honest. I feel like it's leaning towards a draw. Usually these types of games, it's always back and forth and fouls and red cards and constantly stoppages. So
yeah, I don't remember the last Fenerbahce Galatasaray game where there's not a red card involved, Fats.
So I'm going to go with a draw with this one, man.
Yeah.
As much as I would like Galatasaray to win, Fenerbahce is the much better team at the moment, but I think a draw for Fener away at Galatasaray would be a massive point for them to begin with.
Yeah, I think key players for Galatasaray to win this game would be Falcao would have to play. I think Emre Mor needs to start. You just see how much speed he puts into the team, and I don't know why he's not starting yet. He should have played last week when we played Yeni Malatyaspor. And Ryan Babel is going to make a difference. So if we talk about those three players, if they have a good game, it's going to make a difference for Galatasaray. On the other end, for Fenerbahce, you got Max Cruz. I hear Gary Rodriguez won't be playing in this game, which I think a lot of Galatasaray supporters will be disappointed about. They really wanted to give him that boo as he's walking into the stadium. And Vedat Murici, of course, who's been unbelievable. So if these key players step up, I think they'll take it for their team, Fats.
We're going to have to wait and see. That game's 3 a.m. Sunday morning, Australian Eastern Standard Time. I believe beIN Sports will be covering that game live on Foxtel. Yep. So for our Foxtel fans out there, enjoy the game. We'll definitely be discussing about it on the next podcast.
Yeah. Before we move on to the EPL, Fats, we probably should have done this at the start, but our Instagram page is down at the moment. Where
we're just suffering some technical difficulties at the moment with it.
Yeah. So if you guys are trying to reach us on Instagram, we're not there. We'll hopefully be back up and running as soon as possible. We are working on it, but we still have our Facebook and our YouTube pages going strong. We probably should have done this announcement at the start, but yeah. Moving on to the EPL, Fats, we've got some cracker games here as well.
We do have some massive games there. Look, one of the first games of the week is the current European champions, Liverpool. They're away to Sheffield United. Look, Liverpool in the current form that they're in are 15 games unbeaten in the Premier League. Actually, 15 wins in a row, I should say. I can't see Liverpool dropping 3 points here.
No. Sheffield hasn't had the greatest starts to the season. They've disappointed some teams that were expected to win, but I don't see them doing against Liverpool. Here's an interesting stat, but we talked about this off air, but Liverpool's never won a game in Bramall Lane. I mean, they've only played there 3 times.
3 times. We've got to keep that in mind.
But it's an interesting stat. But Liverpool have won their last 12 games against newly promoted sides. So just some interesting facts for you. Sadio Mane has been out injured. I don't know if he'll start the game. His injury is expected to be okay before the start of the game, but whether you play him and risk it, I don't know. Of course, with Origi out, the left-hand side will have to be given to somebody who's not expected to make a first 11 start this week.
Look, I think Mane, if he's okay, will start on the bench just as more of a precaution. If Liverpool do happen to go into a position where they need another striker, they might risk Mane, maybe even risk Origi if he's on the bench as well. Look, even with those injuries, the way Liverpool playing, especially their ability to scrape out wins when needed, I can't see Liverpool dropping points here.
Yeah. Do you see the resting of some players for the Champions League in this one?
I see some early substitutions if they can open a lead.
Yep.
Klopp does that regularly, especially with teams that he goes up 2-3-0 against. Look, at the end of the day, as the European champions, they would need to provide the best team possible for the Champions League game that's coming up.
Yep.
And I think this would be the right time to score a few goals, shut up shop, see you later, 3 points, and look forward to the Champions League.
Yeah, I don't want to be Mr. Negative here, but I also can see how that might put some negative pressure on your team as well. Klopp will be saying, let's get some early goals, let's finish this close shop before half-time maybe, and not being able to score might frustrate them. I can see a team like Sheffield United parking the bus. Hopefully, for Liverpool's sake, they do get some early goals, but it could backfire.
Oh, look, it works in their favour. They don't have much travelling to do. Last time they were in the Champions League, the last match in the Champions League, they played Napoli, so they had to play a game quickly, come back, and versus Chelsea. So that was a very good turnaround for Liverpool. They did lose in Italy, but the next game is at Anfield, so the travel time is a lot. It works in Liverpool's favour. So whether they can bring on a few players, even play into the second half, sort of get what they need, and then sort of sub them out. It might work in their favour, but yeah, I'm still going Liverpool regardless.
Oh, definitely. I've got Liverpool tipped as well.
Another game that it's probably not a necessarily a big game here, but it's a battle of the bottom here. You got Wolves and Watford.
Yeah.
Both these teams have not won a game, and Watford now trying to bounce back from that horrible defeat to Man City. So look, with Watford and Wolves coming into this game, I don't think many people know what to expect. I mean, if we saw this game last year, we would have Wolves written all over it.
Yeah.
On paper, I think Wolves is still written all over it, but it's just not working out for them.
Yep.
Another thing that goes against them is they got Europa League. And they got to have a quick turnaround, and the game that they're playing leading up into the Europa League, they didn't get off to the best Europa League start either. So I think I think both teams need a massive win here. Look, I'm picking a draw for this game, but I don't think that's going to help any one of these teams.
I was just about to say, I think the draw is the thing that one of these teams wants the least, because a win here, Fats, can show them, especially a big win, talking like 2-3-0, for either of these teams, sort of says, hey, we don't belong on the bottom of this table with this mob. It could be the drive that gets you out of that relegation zone. It could be the motivation. Wolves have a great team we've talked about all season. I think it's a lack of confidence now, Fats, almost, I think an injection of belief through one game where they get a win can push them up the ladder a fair bit.
Oh, look, you'd hope for Wolves' sake they can do that, considering with the team that they have. We also need to keep in mind that both these teams played midweek in the EFL Cup. Wolves playing a lot longer than Watford. Wolves going to penalties against Reading. They did manage to win 4-2 on penalties. Watford winning 2-1 against Swansea City in normal time. It sort of works in Watford's favour here because playing less time, playing less game time is definitely going to work in their favour. And it was a big win for them especially to bounce back from that 8-0. But I think they really need to replicate a good performance in this Premier League, especially, like we said, that 8-0, that they won't be forgetting that anytime soon.
No, and I don't think social media or any media outlet around the world has let them forget it either. Moving on to Chelsea, Fats. I've got Chelsea as a clear winner at home to Brighton.
Oh, look, I'm biased in this one, obviously. I've got Chelsea down for a win as well. They had a massive win in the EFL Cup, Chelsea, and it was a very, I think the word to use is bright. It was a bright win because the players that played and the
the future just looks bright for Chelsea at the moment. Okay, it might not be working for them to the best of their abilities at the moment, but I think, how we touched on this before, from a youngster point of view, from a youth academy point of view, from a loanee point of view, I think the best team in the world right now is Chelsea. And that's not a biased point of view.
That's a big call, Fats.
Only because, look, at the end of the day, we do have, 450 loanees.
Yeah.
But look, with the players that are coming out of the youth academy system, there's a reason why I reckon they're one of the best, if not the best, youth academy in the world at the moment. It's the money that went in there, and it's what they've won. Now, if a team that you're bringing up through the academy is winning the UEFA Youth Champions League or the UEFA Finals, you're doing something right.
Yeah, there's strong hope in a future for them.
Now, a lot of people were dissing Tammy Abraham when he first started, that he wasn't scoring goals. Now he's joint Premier League top scorer, or he was.
I don't think the people putting pressure on Tammy Abraham know much about football because, yeah, Tammy Abraham wasn't scoring goals, Fats, but early in those games, he came off the post how many times? He created opportunities. He was opening up space. It's not like he was standing around doing nothing.
No, I agree. It's it all goes back to that first game against Manchester United. 3 minutes in, hits the post.
Yep.
Look, at the end of the day, he's sort of lifting that number 9 curse for Chelsea. But it's another proven factor. You got Abraham, you got Mason Mount, you got James, who absolutely had a blinder in the EFL game. And considering what he was, I believe, 16, 17 years old. So I think what's working in Lampard's favour is the fact that he is giving these youth a chance and showing everyone in the team that if I perform the best of my ability, I'm playing. It's not like before. Like, we look at it, and the best example is this. We haven't seen Pulisic in a while.
Yeah.
It's because the player in his position is playing so much better at the moment. Now, if it was a major team or another team that went out and spent, 50, 60 million euros on this player, you would expect him to start in and out. But if another player's playing better in your position, Lampard's picking that player any day of the week.
Yeah.
Another fixture that's it's going to play heavily in this week, I reckon, is Tottenham Southampton. And the only reason why is Tottenham is struggling, man. They're not the team that we thought that they were going to be.
I think I had Tottenham as second on my overall table.
I think we both did. So there's probably a few people out there that are bagging us right now.
I know JJ was. Look, they lost midweek to like League 2 team?
I think it was a League 4 team.
A League 4 team. Oh my gosh. They lost 4-3 on penalties, but a team from the Premier League shouldn't even be going to penalties, especially a goalless game there, Fats. I've been tipping Tottenham only because I want my table prediction to be right almost, and who would have expected? I'm actually going with a draw with this game, Fats. Southampton have been shocking. Well, that not shocking, but they haven't been the best. But I don't see Tottenham winning it. I've lost all faith, Fats.
Oh, look, that loss midweek is going to play heavily on their cases at the moment. Now, just to verify that Colchester United is from Football League 2. Okay, so that's not EFL, that's not League 1, that's League 2. Yeah. So that for a team like Tottenham, you there's no excuse. There's no ifs, there's no buts, there's no excuses. You just don't lose to teams, especially with the investment that you've done into your team, especially with the players that you have on hand. You cannot be losing this game. Now, again, I've tipped Tottenham to win this game as well, only because, look, they are versing Southampton. They're back at home. Maybe they can get that sort of morale boost that they need before they head into the Champions League game coming up for them. I believe off the top of my head they got Bayern Munich away, and that
is not an easy game.
That is not an easy game. So if you're a Tottenham supporter, I think there's some worrying times coming your way.
Yeah. Man City playing Everton, Fats. Man City, after last week's win, I mean, it was against Watford, and we've talked about Watford's struggles. They won 3-0 midweek against Preston. I'm going with Man City all the way on this one.
Before I get into the Man City, let me just correct you on that. It was Tottenham. They're playing Bayern Munich at home. So it's at Tottenham, 2 games at home there. So, yeah, they're going to need the points there. But Man City, Everton, look, I think Man City just they've recovered really well from this Norwich loss that they had.
Yeah.
I feel like it's sort of the wake-up that they needed.
Yep.
Look, again, winning midweek with... easiest way to say is a half-assed team.
Yep.
And they managed to do it so simply.
But we've talked about Man City's sub-team Fats being better than most EPL teams.
Well, it's exactly what Mourinho quoted when he predicted who could win the Champions League, and Man City's B team was in that list.
Yeah.
So, and look, to be honest, I reckon Man City's B team can beat some of the teams, can beat some or even most of the Premier League teams.
Probably Tottenham.
Probably Tottenham at the moment. So, look, again, you can predict Everton to do a major upset here, but I think everyone's just going to be going with Man City just the way that they're playing at the moment.
Yeah. Leicester and Newcastle, I've got Leicester winning it. I'm bringing Leicester into our talks now. Top of the, top 5 now?
I think they're top 3 off the top of my head. Look, at the end of the day, Leicester City, they're going to be doing their absolute best to disrupt the big 6.
Yep.
Okay, and they're doing a very, very good job at the moment. They're 3rd on the ladder. They are 7 points behind Liverpool, but only 2 points behind Man City.
Yep.
Okay, they're a team that's just working.
Yeah.
It just seems like the bond that they've had when they won the Premier League. Now, if we look back at that Premier League campaign that they actually won, they won the Premier League because the rest of the teams flopped.
Yep.
Okay. Liverpool didn't capitalise that year. Neither did Tottenham. Chelsea were in their own situation. Arsenal were in their own situation. United were in their own situation. And Man City was still getting to what they were going to get to.
Is it much different this season, Fats?
I don't think there's anyone close to Liverpool and Man City. There's Liverpool, Man City, and others at the moment. I think, and this is something that we can discuss maybe a bit later, but what the other teams need to do to get to what Liverpool and Man City are it's not an overnight job. It's not even a year job. Mm-hmm. You're looking at 2, 3, 4 years, major investments just to even keep up with Liverpool and Man City. It's like a gap opened when no one was paying attention. Mm-hmm. Leicester City at the moment, I can't say that they're Premier League contenders. I know whether they can fight for top 4. It seems like it.
Yeah.
They have nothing going there, nothing going their way from a disruption point of view because they're not playing Champions League. There's less travels for them going around.
Yep.
So it seems like if they focus on the Premier League and get the results that they need, disregard the big 6. If you can get points off them, good. They managed to get a point off Chelsea.
Yep.
Focus on the smaller teams. They are versing Newcastle. I think looking at the way that they've been playing, looking at the way the team has been structured, the way that they're moving forward as a team and moving back and defending as a team, I would say that 3 points for Leicester City, it will be something massive to them. Yeah,
I'm going to go with Leicester on this one. I don't know if I said it at the start, but Newcastle was a team that I was tipping early. Let me down a few times, Fats. Leicester at home, I think they'll take this one.
Yeah, we also keep in mind Leicester did win 4-0 away at Luton Town in the EFL Cup.
Comfortable.
So it just seems like everything's going right for Leicester City at the moment. Moving on to the big game.
The game of the week.
Game of the week. There was a lot of memes going around on Facebook. People calling this game the El Sacico. Considering the position of these two teams at the moment. Look, Manchester United, they aren't playing great football.
No, they only just struggled past Rochdale midweek.
Yeah, and I believe that they won on penalties.
Yeah.
Look, and the funny thing about that game was the kid that scored against Manchester United was 16 years old, and in his interview against the team, his interview after the game was, "You going to enjoy your break?" And he said, "No, I got a test on tomorrow." So that shows you a level of what Manchester United have become now.
Yep.
And considering the team that was put on for this game, you sort of think that, okay, is there a problem here? Okay, you can clearly see Paul Pogba does not want to be in this team anymore. It is 100% adamant. I think, and I reckon 100% he's going to Real Madrid, or I reckon, considering Zidane wants him, he's going to Real Madrid in the summer.
Yeah.
Okay, if Zidane's still there, I know we touched on that earlier in the podcast, but if he's still there, Pogba's gone. He's gone. You can just see it in his attitude. You can see that he just doesn't want to be there. There was an article that came out today how De Gea organised sort of like a bonding session at a restaurant, and for all the players of that game to enjoy the game, enjoy the win, maybe clear the air, whatever. Pogba didn't go.
Wow.
So, look, at the end of the day, if your heart was 100% committed, you would have went.
Is there too much pressure on Pogba, Fats?
To be honest, he's a 90 million, 80 million pound player, whatever they bought him for.
Yeah, but the way I see it, that Pogba's expected to play a number 10, play a number 8, play a number 6. Like,
he's not playing any of those numbers.
No, he's not.
You put him as number 6, he's playing as a number 10. You put him as a number 10, he's all over the place.
Yep.
You put him as centre midfield, he looks a bit confused at the moment. I don't know if it's a... Look, a player of his caliber should be doing what's necessary for your team. He's not doing it.
And he's got to step up. He's like one of the senior players on that team.
True, exactly right. I mean, look, the best comparison was Roy Keane. Okay, he was explaining what's happening to this Manchester United squad, and and I totally 100% agree with him here. You look at the team that Solskjaer is trying to do, and we touched on this last week. Oh, sorry, on the last podcast. The youth that's in the team now that Solskjaer is trying to replicate, like Ferguson did, compare that to Ferguson's youth. Now, you look at the leaders in that team. Okay, you look at the spine in that team. Okay, you had Schmeichel, you had
Ryan Giggs.
No, Ryan Giggs was part of the youth team. You had Cantona over there in the goal. You still had you had a strong spine coming through that team. Okay, and I'm not talking about 6-7 players. I'm talking about 2-3 players to just give them enough experience in the team to go. Okay, you know what? Let's guide this youth. The youth had someone to look up to. Now, look at the current Manchester United team. You have the youth that's there. Okay. Your spine is De Gea. I don't know if you want to consider Harry Maguire or Lindelof as a spine. Then you got Pogba.
Yeah.
There's no one leading the team.
Yeah.
If Pogba's not showing the attitude that's needed in the team, what's the youth going to do?
Yeah.
They've got no one to learn off. They've got no one to replicate. There's no sense of, okay, this man's given up. Oh, well.
I feel like that's his character, and I said this early on when we were talking about if Pogba would be transferred, Fats. He doesn't have that attitude. It's like almost Pogba. When it doesn't work, I'll move on. You know what I mean? Like,
and to be honest, he can. That's the problem.
That's true, but he I think he needs to step up. A great example for me is Drogba when he came to Galatasaray. You've got a coach, the caliber of Fatih Terim on the sideline. At half-time, Drogba was talking to the players. He was rounding up his men during the game and telling them tips and stuff like that. Pogba, with the amount of experience he has, he's a World Cup winner. He's played alongside some great players. He's got the experience to teach and guide the people around him. He needs to start stepping up, Fats.
But I don't think he wants that pressure on him. I don't think he wants that. He just wants to be part of a team that's already done. Yeah. I think that's what Pogba
and that's what
wants.
I mean. I think it's a character thing for Pogba. He doesn't want to be that guy.
And look, at the end of the day, it's going to be his decision whether he leaves or not. But with Manchester United not playing good football at the moment, that leads us into Arsenal. Arsenal's pretty much in the same boat at the moment. They did win 5-0 at home against Nottingham Forest, but when Arsenal has been in a position to step up, they haven't.
Yeah.
Whether it be with Arsene Wenger or Unai Emery, it's just not working for Arsenal at the moment. They are scraping through results. Okay, they're a bit ahead of Manchester United from a gameplay point of view, but it's just working for them. Is it beautiful football? Absolutely not. Is it the type of football Arsenal should be playing? No chance. Okay.
Not with the transfers that they've made.
Not with the transfers that they've made. Plus, even the style of method that Emery uses in his football, it's just not working for them at the moment. And I don't think the players want to change and the coaches don't want to change. Because, look, there's a few youngsters in that team that are currently on absolute fire. Like Guendouzi is running the show in the midfield at the moment. And you can see it in his heart. He really wants to play. He really wants to do 100. And that's the best comparison that we can have here, whether it's Paul Pogba and Guendouzi. Sorry, you got one guy who's worth or was bought for 80 million pounds or euros, whatever it was, and he's giving up on the team. While you got a youngster who's fighting for the team, left, right, and centre. You can literally see it in his eyes that he wants to do what's necessary for the team and move forward for this team and try to get the 3 points for the team. So whether Arsenal can manage to get a result out of this, look, I know I've been ranting on about Manchester United here, but given Arsenal's track record, away record, for the players not stepping up when it's needed to, I think Manchester United might win this.
Yeah, look, I think the only reason why Arsenal's been out of our mouths, so to speak, about our criticism is because they've been scraping through, Fats. Not playing well, but they've been getting better results than Man U. But Arsenal haven't. Man U are unbeaten in the last 12 games against Arsenal, playing at Old Trafford. I see where this is going with statistics, but I'm going with a win for Arsenal on this one. Yeah. And we talked about this towards the end of our podcast last week. We said if it was Man U and Arsenal, we both said that we'd back Arsenal. I'm going to go with Arsenal on this one.
Look, to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if this game's a draw.
Yeah.
To be honest, a very boring draw.
Yeah.
Because just the way that these two teams are playing, look, I'm hoping that this being a big game might wake these two teams up and go, you know what? This is a chance for us to separate us from one of our biggest rivals.
Yeah.
So, look, I'm sticking with the United win here. I'm not expecting flashy football. I'm just expecting Arsenal not to do their big performances away like they always do.
I hope come Tuesday, Fats, when we get together, we say, well, man, we were wrong. It was a cracker of a game.
I hope so. Look, there's nothing more fun than watching a game from a neutral point of view.
Yep.
And especially when the game's an absolute cracker. So we're going to have to wait and see that.
And just to sum up, Fats, we got Crystal Palace at home against Norwich this week. Of course, for match day 7. Villa is playing Burnley. Bournemouth at home to West Ham. We've already touched up on the Wolves and Watford. And that's all the games covered for the EPL, Fats.
Yeah, so we're going to have to wait and see how this pretty much transitions out, because we're starting to enter a territory which is November and December.
Yeah,
like we are heading
mid-season.
Almost one quarter away through, but
a third, not mid-season, but a third of the season.
We're gonna start slowly separating the boys from the men.
Yeah, it's not too early anymore, as we've been talking about.
No, and considering where some of the teams are at the moment, if they can stay where they have to stay, such as Leicester City, if they can stay in the top half of it, there might be even talks of finishing in the top 4 comfortably for them.
Mm-hmm.
So, look, at the end of the day, we're going to have to wait and see. It is a cracker of a match day 7 in the Premier League. So, look, at the end of the day, for me, go Chelsea.
I'm excited. I'm gonna go Galatasaray this week. I mean, this is the game that if Galatasaray lost, I didn't want to go to school the next day. I hope it's a cracker of a game. I hope there's no red cards. I hope, we've talked about this. Hope referees play the game as they see it, and there's not so much bias involved. And of course, I hope Galatasaray takes out the 3 points with maybe a couple of goals for Falcao.
Oh, look, as a Galatasaray supporter, you can only hope for that. But we'll have to wait and see how that goes.
Yeah, that's a wrap for us. I think, Fats, that's podcast number 13, episode 13, done. And until Tuesday, I guess, guys, stay offside.
Yeah, thank you very much for listening.
And just listen out on our Facebook page about what's going on with Instagram. If you guys already haven't done so, please follow us on, subscribe to us on YouTube. It helps us out a lot. We're trying to hit our first 1,000 subscribers. So thank you very much, as always, for
Still
listening.
a long way to go, but we'll get there eventually.
That's it. See you guys.
Thank you very much for listening.